Welcome to the Sam and Bucky Squared show. I'm Candace from the Geeky Waffle, and with me is...
I'm Arzu from the Geeky Waffle and arzudt.com.
I'm Maggie from Your Money Geek and Twitter.
Hello, I'm Norhol from Twitter.
Hey, it's Alden from the Octo Radio Star Wars podcast and the One and Done Film Club podcast.
Hi, I'm Mia. I'm from Fanside Entertainment and Dorkside of the Force.
So today we're talking about episode 2, The Star Spangled Man. And I don't even know where to begin. Okay, the beginning. The beginning. That's a good place to start.
Yes.
There
Julie,
was definitely a Star-Spangled Man.
Yes.
There were no lies in the title. That much
No
is
lies,
true.
though.
Yeah, that's all of us, Tyrion. We're all fuming.
All of us.
Like-
yeah.
I watched this during my lunch break. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a nice break from work. And I'm like, I
Nope.
have feelings.
Anxiety and annoyance.
Nope.
So yeah, here is Bucky's reaction to watching
Oh.
the new Captain America on GMA. Good
that's how
morning.
Lucky's all of us watching this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's just,
And this panel
Okay.
requested this photo.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go
Punch
for
him.
There he is.
it. Norhol's going straight for violence.
just the
Yeah.
most punchable
Look
face
at
in
him.
America.
It's like somehow they made the son of two of the most attractive Hollywood legends just look like the most stooge GOP, like just the worst. It just it disgusts me.
And just for
Yeah.
reference, because Arzu didn't know, he is the son of Goldie Hawn and
And
Kurt
Kurt
Russell.
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 Yeah.
Kurt Russell,
Yeah.
who
And he
plays
has-
Ego.
He has his
Ego.
father's eyes and his mother's hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is the son of the commander from Sky High, for those of you playing at home.
And also just Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy, the dad of
Star-Lord.
Of Peter Quill.
Yeah, Star-Lord.
If he's Peter Quill's half brother, like for real, and they lean
Yeah.
into Norhal's meme, I will lose it.
Yeah.
And there was that article today about how his first ever audition was for Captain America, and he lost out to Chris Evans, which is just like perfect.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Well, that's like Sam Rockwell auditioning to be Stark and then
Mhm.
getting Justin Hammer. You know, you take that guy that's just the right amount of not right, and
Yeah,
you,
Sebastian.
and you play it.
Yeah, Sebastian Stan also auditioned for Captain America, and so did Tom Hiddleston audition for Loki. I mean, not
The-
Loki,
Thor.
Thor, yeah.
And his
Yeah.
Thor footage
Keep
is
a list of whoever
hilarious.
auditions
I love
for
it.
the Alien enemy. They go pick one. Like,
Yeah, his Thor footage is absurd. He's so teeny. Even as rippling as he tried to look, he's still tiny.
Yeah. No.
Poor guy.
And okay, so Sam's he's keeping up working, and this kind of reminded me because there's posters everywhere in this episode. Cap is back, and it kind of reminded me of Spider-Man, but like a worse version
Yes.
because
Uh-huh.
it's not actually Captain.
It's not.
Right. Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
that there's- oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that there's like an intentional thread. I just rewatched Iron Man 2 the other day. I know. Did it for a podcast. But save the booze. But the Iron Man 2 thread of Tony sort of telling the US government to stick it without anybody realizing that they were corrupt by Hydra. Like there's this thread in the MCU of like those who stay independent sort of stay righteous, and sort of like Team Cap and Team Iron Man and the World Council and all that stuff. And so here you have like a tribute done by people with graffiti for Stark, who died a hero, and then a perverted tribute done by the White House
government.
that is
Captain
fraudulent.
America. Yeah, and just before we jump to Sam, is when he's in his interview before at the beginning, you kind of see nuance that, oh, well, I'm taking on this mantle when he's preparing, but when he goes on the spotlight, on the reflectors, he's kind of like, oh, yeah, well, I'm like my brother, like, I admire
I never met
Steve, like a
Steve.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a brother. That's such a weird thing to say because there's people alive who
Yeah.
actually knew Steve, who like would consider him a
fought with
brother.
him.
It was all
Yeah.
to be relatable.
And
Oh, for
it
sure.
felt very tone deaf. Like
Yeah.
I was someone at home.
It
in
also
that world.
seemed like he was like taken aback by the question too, and he like kind of
Mhm.
fumbled for an answer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
because
know
I
if
think
this
he
was.
expected. Oh
Oh, you finish it. Yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say in the beginning, I don't know if this is like the cancer in me because I usually tend to like feel for people, and kind of in the beginning, I was kind of like, oh well, it seems like he really wanted this, and I feel so bad. I was like
Yeah.
hating on him online, but yeah, when he got to the interview, I was like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Right, because it's the
Like
right amount of
entitled.
humanity. Yeah, entitled. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they bait you because it's the right amount of humanity. He's got this partner slash wife slash girlfriend slash longtime friend. We're not really clear, but there's clearly a thing. And his best friend, and he's revisiting his old stomping grounds, and it's like, wow, maybe this guy, maybe he's not right for the job, but and then credit to Sarah Haynes from ABC for being in that scene and playing herself for Good Morning America and really giving him those kinds of questions that you expect from like a BS press tour and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just does anyone hear a beep?
I do.
I
Yes.
do actually. Yeah, I was about to.
Sounds like something
Yeah.
scratching across the floor.
Smoke fire. Yeah, smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure no one's like fire alarm is going
Not
off.
over here.
I would never leave this broadcast. Let it all burn around me.
Thank you, Alden.
I would.
So before we move on from this interview, I was texting Candace, Maggie, and Norhal about this. Maybe it was just Maggie I was texting, but when he's in the locker room and there's all these football uniforms and then they go out and it's clearly like a school game, I'm like, oh yeah, his old college. And then they're like high school. I'm like, oh, because as a Canadian, my high school building could fit on that field. And this is just a football building, so that's
America.
just one of those.
Yeah, it's an American thing.
That's one of
There are
those American
definitely-
things, right.
Yes. There are
It's-
definitely high school programs that put way too much money into that kind of stuff.
Right.
Becky
Night
is
The
high.
Live.
marching band and the
Yeah.
bands and the dancers.
Yeah, I mean, like I
did
mean,
marching band.
yeah, our high school my senior year of high school, we got a $3 million grant for the school to do whatever they want, and they spent it on a field.
Wow.
So
We had a
Me-
mediocre field that kept flooding and nobody ever got to use it.
Education.
meanwhile, the arts were struggling. Hey,
Hey.
What's so funny is that like John Walker is clearly that guy who peaked in high school
yes,
and like
Yes.
just never kind of moved on from that. Like he was probably like the hot jock,
yeah.
Yeah.
and that's
Totally.
just who he is still.
Whereas
The person
he was never humbled. Like peaking in high school, having football success, 3 medals of honor, all of this distinction, everybody in the military respecting him, including Buck's therapist, having done missions with him. That we find out later on, he never had to want it for anyone but himself. He never had to look beyond, like Steve did as a nerd, as a scrawny guy.
And they mentioned that the MIT studied his body and that he was off the charts. So, I mean,
Yeah,
like this type of guy.
yeah, the obvious inverse, and even the way they
Steve.
even when they are doing that narration of like they studied his body and all that, and they cut to him doing shield practice, I was like, you bastard. I was so upset.
Well, because
Yeah.
he's basically that guy, that other guy that Tommy Lee Jones wanted to pick for the serum. Hodge?
Yeah, the bully. Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bully. That's basically who he is. He's like, he passed every test they gave him. He looks like a soldier. Like that's they wound up going for that kind of guy the minute
Yeah.
it was out of their control.
Mhm.
You agree?
Absolutely. But yeah, it was just before we leave that section, you Candace, you had pulled up the Bucky photos of him in his living
no.
room. And
Please
I
not
just
again.
there he
Oh.
is. I just want to imagine that like
I just wanna
Bucky just
hug him.
loves Good Morning America. And maybe he was gonna watch it
America.
anyway, and then
The
this ruined
title.
his he's like, I love Sarah and Kiki and Strahan.
Yeah, Robin.
Aw.
Then they ruined it.
Aw.
And
He
that
gets
is
so few
what,
nice things.
yeah, that's what
Have
gets
a really good day.
yeah, that's what gets Bucky to actually reach out to Sam.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that's the thing. And he just like goes straight in. He doesn't like say, hey, what's up? He just goes, why did you give up the shield?
Yeah, he doesn't even call him. He like shows up at the base.
Like,
At
how
the
did he
base,
do
like-
that? How did he just go into a base? He's like a former assassin.
He's got his ways.
He's
I was
not
gonna-
Robin.
I was
We
going
learned
to say
to
no.
stealth.
I really
Still
love
ways.
this moment in retrospect because we see why he's so angry about him giving up the shield at the end of the episode, and just like rewatching this, I was like, this is so good, such quality content.
I know.
Yeah, it's a really good payoff.
I love how much they just argue about like the big three, as Sam says.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
androids, aliens, and wizards, and they're just a bunch of nerds. And I love
Yes,
that.
I know.
Yeah.
I really need to know if Bucky's seen Lord of the Rings.
Yes, I think
That's
he
yeah.
would love
Norhal and I
that.
were talking about that. Like he would love that, right?
Yeah,
I don't think he has, because his frame of reference isn't I've seen The Lord of the Rings. It's I read The Hobbit.
exactly.
true,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he hasn't.
I don't think he's seen it.
Because didn't he? Well, he was already the Winter Soldier when the Lord of the Rings was coming out.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Because
Right.
there's
And nobody
another-
gave him a helpful little list like they gave Steve.
exactly. And so, poor Sergeant
His list was
Barnes.
revenge.
I know. And then
His
he's going
pop
to
culture
go.
consumption is whatever Shuri felt like telling him, and that was
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, what year does he live in currently? What is it, 2023? The Amazon
Yeah.
Studios
2023,
Lord of the
yeah.
Rings is about to come out.
Oh, yeah.
No, they had 5 years where half of their crew was gone.
Yeah.
Maggie.
That's true.
I think that was
That's true.
delayed.
It was delayed.
All production was pushed back.
One of the
Wow.
one of the lines Sam says during this conversation is, "What am I supposed to do? Like call America and tell them I changed my mind?" And that just made me laugh. It's like, what is he?
Yeah, you
supposed to do?
could.
Who is he
You
supposed to
could.
complain to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
well,
then
that
it's,
goes
you know,
into, yeah.
it's
goes
always,
into-
and this is what I think Rhodey for sure suspected, at least, or at least something like it, you know, because it's just classic. We're going to put you in checkmate. So now if you say anything, you look like the jerk that's not cooperating.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so Bucky decides to come along on the adventure, just like that. Sam.
Yeah,
is
after
going to
saying
Munich.
that a sorcerer is a wizard with a hat.
And
I
they
enjoyed
just
that.
like staring contest part 1.
Oh, yeah.
He just wants to go on a trip with his boyfriend. That's what it is.
They're so cute.
Am I looking too much into it? I thought this scene kind of felt like the callback to Avengers when it's like, you know, what's your plan of or whatever of attack? And I think
Attack.
Captain America says
Yeah.
attack, and then he
Yeah.
just jumps out of the. So this is
Yeah.
like, you know, what's your plan? But he just doesn't say anything. I was like, I think I watched Avengers too many times. So
No, it
it's
definitely
totally
has
a
that
callback,
same,
yeah.
that same
Yeah.
vibe. There's only one God, ma'am. I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
there's
like-
that stuff.
Cap and Winter Soldier doesn't jump with a parachute. And he's fine. But Bucky doesn't use a parachute. And he makes old man noises. And Sam has Red Wing like taping the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Red
Oh.
Wing,
Hey, you know what? It
R.I.P.
worked out for him because Red Wing got destroyed, so that footage
Aw.
is gone.
Unless it's
Oh,
on the
yeah,
my
the
cloud.
God.
cloud, Maggie. It's in the cloud. That's where
That was,
my cap for this is literally R.I.P. Red Wing.
yeah,
That's true.
R.I.P. Red Wing.
Oh yeah, I was that.
Killed
And-
by a character that I will only be calling N Flag Nest until she gets a full
And
name.
Flagness, yeah.
It's Carly.
Yeah, has a full name.
Carly.
Well, a comic book name. I mean, I'm not sure which
okay.
Flag Smasher she's supposed to be
Oh.
because there is a
Yeah.
the Flag Smasher singular villain, and I'm not sure if that strong guy's supposed to be him. But yeah,
And Flagness. I love that.
No, yes, Red Wing. I felt so bad for Sam because Sam like calls him he.
Yeah.
And do you
Mhm.
remember like in Civil War with Natasha? He's like, you can pet him.
Yeah,
yeah,
you
so,
can put it.
yeah.
Aw,
That was
poor
cute.
Sam.
Yeah,
Poor
I was
Sam.
surprised at how much I was like kind of I think that was one of the first scenes I laughed at, you know, like Bucky falling through the trees and they captured it all on camera. There it is again.
With the leaves.
But yeah,
I
it was
know.
surprisingly, it was like I was always swinging between like I'm super emotional right now and I'm laughing at their, you know, this sort of like buddy banter that they have going.
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of, for some reason, like a Shrek and Donkey, except for
Yes.
they both kind of hate each other.
Shrek
It's my best analogy of
That's
it.
fantastic.
It's got the
Oh,
best of like
perfect
all the buddy
comparison.
cop like
Yeah.
Mm.
shows. So good.
Speaking
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Red Wing, when he gets smashed, you hear him scream.
No.
And that really disturbed me. I just
how
noticed
that-
that the second time I watched.
Aww.
I was like, oh no, it feels pain.
So you're trying to
I
make
kinda
it just this little robot.
I loved how Bucky was like, I wanted to do that.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Do you think
what did
Bucky's like such an old man he doesn't realize that the footage went to the cloud, so he thinks if he destroys it that the footage is gone
Yeah,
forever?
Of course.
Oh,
of
for
course.
sure.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
thinks
yeah.
it's
That's
just it's
nice.
on film and he can just get rid of it.
He doesn't know what the cloud is. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He has no
not.
idea.
Okay, a cloud.
Absolutely.
He looks.
Yeah, how is it in the clouds?
Yeah.
No, it's down here now. It's not in the clouds anymore.
He does, and he did in the first episode, but here too, there are some actors, several of the Doctor Who actors, probably all of them actually, that are so good at acting like they've been around way longer than they look. Like so good at being old internally.
So tired.
And throughout
Yeah.
this entire thing, you believe that this is a 106-year-old man who is just done.
Oh,
There he is.
old man yells at the cloud. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's what it looked like. He was trying to swap Red Wing when he was going ahead of Sam, and he's like this. It's just like
Old man
he's an
SWAT
old man.
clouds.
hmm So, what did you guys think of the fight with the trucks?
Wow,
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
it was really good.
Speaking of which, the scene where they think she's hostage and she gives that smile.
Oh my god,
Like,
that's
I saw it coming.
You're dead.
scary. Like
Yeah, that's scary. That's scary. I got scared.
Can
I was like,
say
for a
that,
second,
like-
I was like, oh, Enfys Nest, and then oh, look at that.
but it's like a reverse Enfys Nest because the whole thing with Enfys Nest is they
Yes.
think that whoever Enfys Nest is like big bad threat, and then you realize it's like a young woman. And here they're like, oh, it's like a young woman. It's like, no, she's gonna kick your ass. Like, it's like
Yeah.
the other way. She puts the mask on and then gets like.
Mhm.
So I thought that was
Indeed, yeah.
probably not
And that's
intentional,
like
but I
the
mean, it was.
I like how layered the character of Carly is already because like that moment away from her teammates and followers, you could see like she enjoys the ass kicking clearly. But you know, later on around her friends, you know, it's very much like it's about the cause, it's about the cause. So like it definitely is showing like even though because a lot of people after episode 1 was like, why is this show making the no borders people the bad guys? And I'm like, well, could you let them like tell a story? Like I feel like that's part of the point. And clearly we can see like she has, you know, a little bit of a whatever was done to them to make them super soldiers or something. Like she ain't right
Mhm.
up here, but you know, even ideologically.
Mm-hmm.
Still seemed like she was kind of left open and kind of vulnerable when she got that text message kind of towards the end, and it was like from a private message, and they were like, you know, I'm gonna come after you and you know
Kill you.
whatever's gonna happen, yeah, kill you. I was like, oh, and
Yeah.
she seemed kind of scared, so I was like, oh, I wonder
Yeah.
what's going
I
on
know.
there.
Yeah,
I
And then
think
all of
that's-
those guys.
Yeah, I think that's the real big bad.
the
of
power
series.
broker. Yeah,
Whoever she's scared of, because they can't be saying the people who are trying to get vaccines to underprivileged people, which really hits home right now, are the bad
Exactly.
people.
yeah.
Like that would be a really bad look, Disney.
I mean, it's the same as you know, I go to Black Panther. Like Killmonger's entire thing, he has a valid point the entire time, and his entire point about, you know, T'Challa and T'Chaka's style of leadership, the entire criticism is correct. It's just you then decided to kill people, and so you have lost the moral high ground. And so that's the whole thing with like the flag smashers, and then but with the U.S. government. It's like you guys are. Well, I mean, they definitely killed people in where was he? Germany? Where was that
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
incident where they
Somewhere.
attacked
I
that
thought
whole
they just
city block
smashed
and
people,
everything?
Like,
That's at least a bunch of accounts of assault. It's the
Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
thing where it's like Batman's not killing you, but you're dying in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's
that
type
one
of
was
stuff.
Switzerland. The one where
Switzerland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus there.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
did feel
so-
like someone, though, I was going to say, went on that. What was that subreddit? Thanos was right. And was like, oh, that'd be an awesome plot point.
Thanos was right. Was when they deleted half the users on
Yeah.
Thanos was right. That was such a good. That was an all-time Reddit moment. That was so good.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see sort of how they come down on it and who this big bad is. I have suspicions, and I would love it if it, because they said this is going to tie into 3 MCU projects, right?
yeah.
Yes.
I think that the power broker, clearly someone that can make super soldiers, clearly someone with a lot of influence and brains. I think it's going to be the leader. It'll be Samuel Stearns, Tim Blake Nelson back from the Incredible Hulk, paying that off years later. And
Later,
that's
yes.
and it ties into She-Hulk. I think that's what they'll do.
That'll be awesome.
that Marvel trend of taking their like least viewed properties and making them extremely important. So it's like, well, if you want to get this, you have to go back and watch that.
Fahey is punishing people for making fun of any of his installments. He's like, "Oh, you didn't like Dark World, where it's going to be super important forever."
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing, like, half of Endgame hinges on you having seen Dark World. Like,
you didn't like Age of
have
Ultron.
issues
Well,
with
your new
Ultron?
favorite show is going to be all about Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
So during the fight, and the fake Cap, and his partner Battlestar comes along and saves them. What was that?
No, the Battlestar, the guy.
Yeah. And well, we get the Sam and Bucky scene.
Beautiful, magical, inspiring.
They go rolling in a field like, young lovers do. But yeah, I felt so bad for Bucky and Sam, like having to see like the shield in action.
I know.
Yeah.
And then, I think that was before they went rolling, that when Bucky was hanging from below the truck, that he went below the truck. That was really cool.
Yes.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, the choreography was really great. I mean, definitely reminiscent of Rick Famuyiwa's episode, The Believer, with the whole truck fight, truck to truck to truck. But I mean, it was just cool to see sort of like we felt bad for them because of like what individually pissed both of them off. And for Bucky, it was when Battlestar was said, because that was not only has Cap been replaced, you've been replaced. Like, it's not Cap and Bucky anymore. Bucky is irrelevant, It's about Battlestar now. And that I think was the extra.
That's what like got him like off the truck. Just like with Sam, it was like, oh, it'd be nice to have Captain America's wingman by my side.
I know.
And he's like,
The audacity. Yeah, I texted a friend that, and I was saying, the audacity. And she texted me back like, no, the caucasity.
The cock.
Truly.
It's true.
I thought for like a couple of minutes, I thought Bucky got off because he thought Battlestar was a stupid name. Like, and that was enough of a reason for him. He's like, you know what?
Yeah.
If it's amateur hour over here, we're using names like Battlestar. I'm gonna walk to the airport.
Yeah.
Then I realized it was more like emotional. But for a couple minutes, I'm like, Bucky's real petty.
But this, oh my God, Anthony Mackie, just throw Emmys at him too.
I know.
Like, just his flippin' face in all these scenes, and his eyes are already getting kind of like teary. Like I cry when I'm mad sometimes, and I'm like, I feel like you feel for him, and he's just like
exactly, because he has this story with Steve, and I think when at the beginning with John Walker, I thought, oh, he's a fanboy seeing Captain America. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take the mantle and whatever, but these guys, both Bucky and Sam, know Steve. And there you go. He wrote a gun to a shield fight. Yeah, he knows Steve. If we remember on the Winter Soldier, who was the one who Steve and Natasha looked for help? It was Sam. I mean, when everyone was chasing them.
trying to kill them.
Exactly, yeah. So he knows the guy. He's like, hey, dude, I fought with him.
We talked about this last episode. Is like Sam, like not blindly, because Steve is obviously like a good person, and Sam's like, whoever they're shooting at me too. And he's like, whatever you want to do, whoever sides you're on. Same with Civil War. Like, he obviously does not like Bucky, even from the start, but he was willing to fight for him because Steve cared about him.
Exactly, and I joked about it that Sam Wilson's voice was not the first voice that Steve heard when the portals open to be disrespected like that. Mm-hmm. When he says, oh, hey, Cap, you hear me? On your left. And then we have...
Because the second that Sam got flipped back, he was like, where's Cap? I got to help Cap. He's like, I got to help him. We got a battle to do. Because, like, that's just who Sam is. Sam is a hero. But yeah,
it's true.
Oh, getting so mad. But yeah, that's what they want us to do. They want us to be mad.
I know.
Yeah. Look, they disrespect Sam. They disrespect Buck. They disrespect Joe Biden, Steve Rogers. And that's just too far. That's just too far.
It's crossed the point of no return.
It's irredeemable at this point.
Yeah. And when they're back on the plane, and Bucky's like, let's just steal the shield. And I'm like, do it. Have ice. Steal it.
Yeah.
Bucky's basically like, haven't you watched these movies? Like, he's like, come on, man. Like, we'll always get out of it. Like, come on.
It's gonna be fine. And we know in the promo they get it back.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
it was
That's like his whole thing. He's like, haven't you seen the promo?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You
There
don't
you
have
go.
Disney Plus account. But it was a good point for Sam to, that's obviously a little bit of like, let's establish the universe a little bit more, that, Sharon was, number one most wanted for what she did. And it's a good point where it's like our characters, we're happy for them sometimes, but, like with Bucky and Wakanda being the White Wolf and having his little farm and his village. But at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, you got that because Steve hooked you up, but everyone else paid for helping you, So it's always a give take, always a give take.
And just like imagine that like Sam missed 7 years of his nephew's life, really? Instead of just those 5 from the
He was
blip?
another run.
Yeah, 7 years like from his sister, who knows when she got widowed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's not willing to pay that price again when like his family's like legacy is on the line also.
It's the same with Clint. Like, there's only so many times that you can leave your family behind before you finally quit.
We don't talk about Clint on
Clint.
the show.
Oh, I'm not
Hey,
saying I
Red.
love Clint.
Now,
I love
now
Kate.
I
that,
know that's what you're saying when you bring his name up on the show.
That I love him?
Yes, and you're disrespecting us when you
Never
do
said that. Never said that.
Anything that's not outright everything is Hawkeye's fault
Yes.
is too much praise for us.
Yeah.
Look,
Oh my God!
all
Just
right.
wait till the Hawkeye series. Can you imagine us covering that?
God.
Bring me on for every episode.
Totally
Bring-
sidebar.
Every
I am
single one.
actually really excited for Hawkeye because years ago I was obsessed with this one musical theater like group of actors, and one of them is in Hawkeye, Frothy. Like I used to have full-blown Twitter conversations with him, and it's super weird that like 10 years later he's on a Marvel show.
Look, she's excited about it. How come you're not gonna say anything to her, Candace?
there you go.
But no,
That
she
haircut.
doesn't like Clint though.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I'm just
I like
excited
Kate.
for him.
I'm in it for the Haley Steinfeld, Florence Pugh team up.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
As long, hopefully he'll get a better haircut in this one.
I know.
But
But
yeah, okay,
hey,
so-
Candace, before we jump, what you mentioned, Wakanda, that the quip that he tells, oh, look at yours, stealthy. Are you White Panther?
White Panther.
That was great.
Uh,
No, I'm the White Wolf. I'm like, what?
and he's which
That
goes
was
into
really,
like a
really
theory.
great.
Maggie, her love language is sending TikToks, and one of them that she sent me was that the reason that it's called Winter Soldier, Captain. Oh my God, my brain's broken. Falcon and Winter Soldier is because that's the last time we're gonna ever see the two of them use those names.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the series, Sam is he's gonna accept that he is Captain America, and Bucky's already not the Winter Soldier anymore.
Uh-huh.
Like he's
He made
not
that
the
clear in the
assassin.
first episode.
Yeah.
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 So he's gonna be like the White Wolf.
Yeah, and the Winter Soldier, like I remember back when they were doing that arc in the comics with Brubaker and all that good stuff, and when Bucky first got big and all that. I remember asking somebody at the comic book store, like, why is he called the Winter Soldier? And they explained to me the whole, I think it's like a Russian poem about how the summer soldiers have it easy because, they don't fight in the snow and all this stuff. And so I think it would be really cool if at the end he really does set up back in Wakanda. Like if the last shot is him settling down in his village, and maybe he's willing to fight. He's not fully retired. He keeps the arm, he's not going armless like he did before, but with the mentality of like, I can have a house here now. Like truly the summer has come visually. And
He just needs a vacation, like a nice extended vacation, just to like mentally
With Sam.
recuperate.
With Sam, they need to like maybe go to Disney World or something. I don't know.
why don't they go to
They go to Marvel.
Do a marathon of Lord of the Rings.
Like,
yeah,
They
they should
go
go
to New
to
Zealand.
they should go to New Asgard
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
with King Valkyrie.
They can go to
Nice
space.
quiet place. Oh yeah, with Nick
Okay.
Fury, just leave.
You go to space
Just
for a
go.
little bit
Yeah.
and get your little vacation holo deck.
Go to
like you got.
Westview. It's got a,
Get everything.
got a movie
Get
theater.
everything when you're there.
It's got a movie theater.
No, want
They're
to
we can go to one of the many cabins in the woods that the Avengers own.
There,
Oh, yeah.
I love it. There's
Oh,
just like
so-
this huge field, and there's like different like solo cabins, and they're each just like hiding in there, and they can just like wave to each other, and be like, We're staying away from people together.
Yeah.
That's the Canadian Avengers compound. It's just a really big field by a lake with a bunch of different cabins.
It's
There
One
you
day
go.
when they make the actual
Oh my gosh.
Canadian team Alpha
Yes, I'm
Flight, they
sorry.
need to have Arzu writing for that show.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah,
Make all the
about
jokes.
Battlestar. Battlestar does work
Yes.
with
Yes,
John
Alan.
Walker,
Here for it.
but he later joins Captain America's team, Steve's, in the comics. So it's going to be interesting. Are they going to
Yeah.
stay BFFs like they are? Or,
It's gonna be
it
interesting.
matters
I feel
what
like
happens.
he's going to start to question fake Cap a little bit. And then maybe by like episode 4, you'll be like, wait a minute, man. You're not who you used to be or whatever. And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the episode, we see how he like just stay the hell out of my way. Like, dude, Cap
Yeah.
would never say that.
Yeah.
He would call
He's-
Thanos son of a bitch, but he will not say that.
He
He,
was
uh,
He's going to drive his friend away. I know it.
He was so
Yeah.
sketchy in that scene.
I mean, as he's like, "Hey guys, over here," as he leans up against a cop car.
Oh.
Like, is it heavy-handed? Yes. Is it necessary? Also, yes. Like the way that this show with the triple hitter of obviously the Bradleys, both generations of the Bradleys, and then also the cops that are messing with Sam, and then him leaning up against the cop car. It was like the show saying, like, stop tweeting about how we don't understand world issues. We're doing it. Like, we got it.
And
And
of all the cities for them to pick, Baltimore is definitely a city.
A choice.
yeah.
Yes.
A choice. And I just realized that I accidentally streamed us to Periscope instead of Twitch.
Oh,
That
well.
was my mistake.
Oh, dear.
That's,
Look, we're huge on Periscope. I've never been on Periscope, but
It's Twitter. It's Twitter Live.
Twitter Live, yeah.
So we're on Twitter.
Hi, Twitter.
guys.
Hi, Twitter.
Oh gosh. Okay.
that Twitter be
sorry.
nice.
I got distracted.
Twitter
let's go into the
famously very
heavy.
nice.
Let's go into the really heavy stuff because
Oh,
we
yes.
got
We actually had 2 people until you said that were watching us on Periscope, and then they vanished.
Oh no!
No, we didn't need to call you out. Come back.
We've been spotted.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I shamed the Twitter watchers. I was like, why aren't we going live on Twitch like you're supposed to? And then it's like, oh. Okay. Off topic again. Okay, so who did you guys think when Bucky took Sam to Baltimore and he was going to that house? Did you guys have any like inkling?
Instantly thought it was the Bradleys.
Yeah,
It
so did I.
had to be. Yeah. I could see, arguments made for other people, but they would be people Sam knew. So it was just like
Yeah, that's true.
at that point. The
Yeah.
only person I could have seen, if I didn't already know that she was going to be in the Hawkeye show, would be Yelena, because we were supposed to already have that movie.
Yeah.
But
Which
but
movie
we
is
know
that?
that she's going to be in that show. So
Which one's Yelena?
Yelena is Florence Pugh.
Florence.
She's
Oh, okay.
going to be in the Hawkeye show. So I
Yeah.
figured, maybe, who's someone else in that Cap Bucky spy world. And I was like, Widows. But, it just felt like for this show with these themes, it was time to really lean in. And also, I said it in the group chat, Young Avengers. They just
Yep.
keep feeding us Young Avengers.
Yes.
We have
Eli.
Kate coming. We have Eli now. We've got Wiccan and Speed. We have Ms. Marvel on the way, so they'll probably add her. The villain of Ant-Man 3 is Kang. Like, it's all the elements are coming together. Secret Invasion's getting a show, so
And we're
that's how
gonna
you
have
bring in
Cassie, too.
Hulkling. Cassie, yeah, the newly recast Cassie.
Oh, before we get to that scene, I loved when like the kid in the neighborhood was like, hey, it's Black Falcon.
It's a Black Falcon.
Black
Yeah.
Falcon.
Yeah, I can
Like,
attest
are you
to
Black
that.
Kid?
Aren't you Black Kid? Yeah.
You Black Kid.
My favorite is
Whatever,
the
man.
friend. My favorite is the
Yeah, the
friend
friend.
that Sam
Yeah.
like doused
So
up.
nice.
And they're just laughing at this 8-year-old.
Oh.
It's great.
Sometimes
like my
8-year-olds need to be laughed at.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's a fact.
Most of the
As
time.
somebody who works with kids, sometimes
Yeah, I was
you
like,
have to
ours
laugh
is a
at
teacher.
Mhm.
I did like that they were able to kind of just lightly poke fun at that trend. Like,
Yeah.
we've got Black Panther and all these other characters. Like, you don't have to add black at the beginning
Yeah.
of their name just because they're
Yeah.
black. So I thought that was kind of funny. You let Sam say it and Just move
But
on.
I would love if like Bucky is the white wolf finally. It's the other way
The
around.
white wolf.
Well, they're at least gonna break that trend, or not break the trend, but like throw a wrench in it a little bit with Eternals, because Kit Harington is playing
Knight.
Black Knight, and he
Oh.
obviously is white.
It's the
And
whitest man ever.
And he was the white wolf.
It's his hair. It's his
Yeah, he was
hair.
the actual white
The
wolf.
actual
Yeah,
white wolf. The king of the north. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
so
so-
that'll be interesting. But yeah, it was a fun. It's also just fun to see the level of celebrity that certain Avengers have, and how Falcon
Yeah.
is, the bank guy, the kids, even the
Everybody
cops.
knows him, and yet
Yeah.
he's still
We'll get
not
to it.
worthy.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get to it. So yeah, the whole thing about like the Bradleys is the Truth, Red, White, and Black, which was a comic book series in 2003, and it has been referenced in like Marvel for like over a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like we were talking in the group chat, like we're surprised they did it, but glad they did.
Glad they did, yeah.
Yeah, pulling no punches. I mean, call it like it is that there was an issue with race.
Yeah.
And
It is.
it makes sense because like once they had that one Captain America, like you can see like the government doing things like horrible things
Yeah.
and just experimenting more because like we know that Howard Stark kept trying to do it.
Yeah.
The reason Bruce Banner becomes a Hulk is because he's trying to perfect it too.
Yeah, with Blonsky as a spinoff of a failed formula, and then
Abomination.
I don't know how far Fahey will go in terms of all of those failures, but even the Weapon X program where Logan and Wade come from is a spinoff of Weapon Plus, and Weapon Plus was just Erskine's formula developed too. So if they ever do a recast Wolverine for, you could tie him into there as well. But yeah, I mean, it's Marvel has had a lot of fun doing the let's retroactively layer those old decades, like with Hank and Janet, and they've built up a nice little Silver Age sort of in there. But with that, I mean, you can't shy away from like what that actually would have been. So it'll be cool to see maybe if Fury and Isaiah knew each other, as young black soldiers. Any way that they want to play that angle, but I mean, I've loved this actor since I need to get his last name right. I forgot his last name. But since he was Lumbly, that's right, Carl Lumbly.
Lumbly.
Since he was voicing Martian Manhunter back on Justice League, it was so
That's
good.
right.
But yeah, he just broke my heart in this scene.
Yeah, just
know.
that like
It's
he was
heavy.
only on screen for a few minutes, but
What a few minutes it was.
Yeah, it transmitted all the. Yeah, you feel the pain.
All the emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, and just the way that I think that probably my moment of the episode is him saying, "I'm not a killer anymore," and he's like, "Oh, you just get to wake up and decide. You just get to shake it off." Whereas
it doesn't work like that. We'll
It was
make this sense for
definitely-
folks like you.
exactly, and it was Bucky's not wrong. He's doing his steps and everything, but it's also the acknowledgement of you're not the only one that was used and tortured, man. Like,
Yeah.
and you were used and tortured, and you get a pardon. You were used and tortured, you get to be an Avenger. You get to have the glory and the nice and the relationship with Wakanda and all this stuff that you get, an apartment, friends. And I got a 30-year jail sentence for doing good.
And all the
Doing good, that's right.
experimentation, everything he went through.
Oh god. And yeah. What's in the comic is just horrific
Yeah.
of what they do to him.
Yeah.
And we get that nice little nod to he still has those powers, when he throws it at the wall and it smashes the wall. It makes me wonder, like, does Eli know that he inherited these abilities yet? Does he hide in there with him because he knows he's strong? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And in case people didn't recognize what was going on with that scene, I think the next scene really underlined
drove that home.
conversation.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, Sam is like rightly mad. Like he's like, this was happening,
Angry.
and it's like did Steve know? Steve didn't know because Bucky didn't want to like hurt him. He said, which But I'm like, what was Bucky actually remembering? Like, how many conversations with Steve did he actually have after,
Yes.
being frozen in Wakanda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's also like they were still dealing with like their primary hill of trauma was the murder of the Starks. So I think that they sort of like they had that one thing to deal with, and maybe Bucky was like, if I start unveiling other atrocities that I was a part of, then he won't want me to be redeemed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not just that. It's like what America did, what the government did.
Yeah. In your name, in the name of you while you were frozen.
Yeah.
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 And then
So, yeah, they're in Baltimore, which Maggie has the article. Like,
Really high numbers of constitutional crimes against the Black community in Baltimore, like one of the highest in the U.S. Yay, Maryland.
yeah.
I know,
Baltimore.
and then you see immediately that he's not even like
He's not doing
acting
anything.
violently. Yeah, he's just
He's raising
having,
his voice.
yes.
He just raised
Which
his voice.
is clearly a threat to the white man he's with.
Yeah.
And just like the dichotomy between how they're like so quick to like hands on guns, ready to arrest Sam, but then when they come back and find out that Bucky actually has a warrant, they not only arrest him with his handcuffs in the front of him, but they're like, here you go, let me hold the door open and be like really
They
polite
say,
to you.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about this.
They
I'm
say
sorry
I'm
about
sorry.
that.
Exactly.
And I have a cap at this, but like, okay, so when the cops, like, one of the cops, like, realizes who Sam is, he whispers to his partner, and like Sam's face, right?
He
there.
says, "Throw all the Emmys to this guy."
That's when it clicks in. He's like, oh, right. It's not because I'm innocent. It's because I'm famous.
Mm-hmm.
And that's terrible because just move the fact that he's an Avenger, but he was a veteran. I mean, he served and he's doing nothing wrong. And these guys are already seeing him as a threat. And then when they confirm, oh, sorry, we didn't. No, not even sorry. They just say, oh, you didn't have your glasses on or your whatever. So
They
you
blame
look different
him,
with
like,
your
I
goggles.
didn't recognize you without your
It's like,
goggles.
get out of here. And that's a big theme that they said they wanted to tackle, Norhall, what you just said about him being a veteran. So you got Rhodey and Sam talking in this first episode. It's like, how many generations upon generations of Black people in America fight and die that way white people can live comfortably and never get that recognition. So to have those themes sort of underline of like, it's what have you done for me lately? It's like, wow, I had to literally work my way up to being an Avenger and save not just America, the universe for you to not harass me in the street. That's great.
again, he didn't fight Thanos' army to be so disrespected.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. This universe has seen aliens, and that makes me so sad. Like, we couldn't come together as a species after that. Like,
Great.
Yeah, I was really surprised that Marvel, at least for this show, was really starting to push that. And I always kind of compare like Marvel to DC's. Like, you really do with Marvel's characters feel a lot more down to earth with them. They feel a lot more human versus kind of like these huge gods. And their only problem is I can't relate to humans in DC. But this was really, to me, kind of zooming in even more on that humanity and it's like, I don't want to talk for Anthony Mackie's experience, but just kind of as a universal experience being Black and growing up in America, I can only imagine the type of, experience or history he was drawing that from. To act in that scene, which I thought was extremely deep, but it was like, I'm shocked, but I'm also not surprised. These are the things that, we get told. The cops just might, harass you or something. It's just going to happen. So yeah, I'm always kind of interested to see, now these things are kind of being even put on TV or with kind of shows like Lovecraft Country also was one of those shows that pushed these topics into the narrative.
Yeah, it definitely made me think of the stuff, again, I invoke Killmonger of him and Njobu with his father and how he's telling King T'Chaka in the past, like, how bad things are here, like in Oakland, like it's not Wakanda, like they're killing us, they're doing all these things, and how Wakanda at that point, didn't help,
Step up to help,
in America, or outside of their nation. So it definitely feels like Faihi very intelligently as White is, he recruits the right talent and then says, it's yours to tell. Do it. I'll give you A, B, and C to hit, and you just, that's why I'm excited more for the Black Widow movie now, because I've seen what Jack Schaefer did now with WandaVision, and how her perspective and everything. So
Malcolm
exactly
Spellman
what Charlie
is
said.
the head writer, executive producer, and he's like, I feel like he has an idea of what he wants to tell, and he's doing a really great job of using like the superhero medium to also just tell this lesson. And this kind of like, I think we should just go straight into this, is like, we're thinking like, this is like the main reason Sam did not take up the mantle, is because he knows what is America like. He says straight up, maybe this is something you or Steve will never understand.
Yep.
They won't. They will not.
They want him to, and again, it's like I said earlier, the U.S. government would love it if he stole that shield, because it would prove all of their BS right.
See?
And they love that at the Smithsonian he played ball like a good soldier, handed it over, and we gave him a pat on the back and told him to go home.
Let him do a speech.
It's exactly what they want.
But then they can point at that and be like, see, he said he didn't want to be Captain America. We didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, that's what it always is in this country. And I like that this show, because like let's be real about it. Like Stanley, Jack, like those were the SJWs of the 40s, those were Jewish guys. Jack Kirby was ready to punch Nazis in the lobby of Marvel Comics. And like these were left-leaning guys for their generation, of course, but still that were telling the parables, like this was like X-Men being the gay metaphor, introducing Wakanda, introducing characters, like a Sam Wilson, and having all of that sort of play in. Like they did what they could with their time, but still, like, to act, it's same with Star Wars. Like for anybody to act like this, that the politics aren't bleeding from the screen is just not watching it. Like it's all over. And I'm glad that they're going full tilt and they're not trying to, because for a company that's like, we don't lean either way, this is an investor call, they definitely are leaning one way.
Yeah, and I'm glad they are. I mean,
we thought this was going to be like a fairly generic Marvel series, and I mean, like, the formula is still there, but the fact that they're dealing with these topics and actually embracing them, and inside. No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, that's good. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, it's the benefit of TV. You have 6 hours, 7 hours to tell this story, rather than you have to keep the plot moving and also set up the next 3 movies in a 2-hour time frame. So that's one of the benefits of, I think, with TV. You can do things like Grief with WandaVision, right? Or all the issues being tackled here. You have
especially with comics, because like Stan and all those writers had, they had a year to tell a 12-part arc or anything that they wanted to do, and hundreds of pages over the course of a whole run. So it definitely is translating well. And and Candace, you brought up that therapy scene. I know we were going to talk about both of their angles.
Bucky gets arrested because he missed his therapy session, and again the cops apologized to him.
They thought he was having a really bad day. Sorry.
Okay.
Look, it ain't wrong.
I mean,
and didn't they add a content warning to this show? I think I read that. If you go to the show on Disney Plus, I saw this on what website?
I look at it, the kids.
Maybe I saw it on Twitter. Yeah, it basically, like, because Bucky does shoot an Asian American overseas and a lot of that stuff they threw in like I think it's like under the description or something. They pull it up. Let me see if I can find that while you're setting up the scene.
I did think that last week. I was like, oh, very bad timing, even though this was filmed like in 2019.
In a flashback,
And okay, so his therapist comes, and so does stupid Captain America. And he's the one who got Bucky off of his arrest.
He's trying
And-
so hard to be a good boy.
Yeah, but let's
Sarcasm.
point this out. I
Sarcasm.
mean, he's saving. Like, oh yeah, Bucky, he's not gonna need to
No, yeah.
do his therapy because he wants him.
Yeah, it feels like that he wants them as like a collectible, both of them.
Exactly, to have him as his wingman. And let us remember, in Civil War, Steve went to save them all from that floating prison where they were. Mm-hmm. Not because, oh yeah, I need them. No, because they were
his friends.
Their friends. Yeah, his friends. So
for him, it's all optics, and it's all.
Yeah.
He thinks that the American people will accept him more if he has if he has a team they recognize.
He has the
for him. Yeah. By the way, I just wanted to. Yeah, it says. So you go to the description of the show. Falcon and Winter Soldier has the whole regular thing. Then it says, though it is fictional and set in a comic book world, the series contains violent scenes that may be viewed as triggering or unsettling to some viewers, particularly in light of real-world tragic events. Recent real-world tragic events.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay,
Wow.
nice. I mean,
even though I did not notice that.
No, neither did I.
Yeah, and
No,
I love
neither
how
did I.
they're like, oh, Bucky doesn't need therapy anymore. Yeah, like Taryn says. Sorry. He still needs to be in therapy.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
yes. But since he wants to have, like Ellen says, to have the team, recognizable team for America to embrace him as the new Captain America, he doesn't care. I mean, he doesn't care about Bucky.
about his mental health.
Yeah.
He just cares about like having that collection. So
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy's on the phone with Rhodey trying to get him to show up as Iron Patriot. Like he probably would love to have his own little Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
oh, that's gross.
He's dying to say Avengers Assemble for something.
Oh yeah.
No.
No.
Hit mute.
He keeps calling Thor
Aggressive.
Bucky. Bucky.
He's looking in the mirror every morning going, Avengers
Yeah.
Assemble? With like a single
Wanda is
fist.
gonna be.
I feel like he just wants to use them all as props to make himself
Bucky's
look
about to
good.
mute you all.
Yeah.
He's looking for the key.
Look at
He
him.
doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, Bucky's like, no, not my
Bucky won't
cat.
stand for
Hashtag
this.
not my cat.
Yeah,
So
it's great.
his therapist decides like they need couples therapy.
Oh. yeah. Yes.
I love you. I love you so much, Charlie. I really do.
Yes,
Seriously,
Charlie, you're the best. Couples
And-
therapy.
We get this scene where their thighs are very close to each other.
Just look at her face too. Like she's great. She's really good.
She's like,
at
I
these.
didn't ask for that.
Also, if you watch it in like slow mo, his hand like grazes Bucky's thigh.
No, they're on his thigh right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Maggie.
technically here he's holding the legs of the chair when he's pulling it forward.
Oh yeah.
But there's
you're
a
They're
scene,
right.
still touching.
but there's
He
a
like-
scene where his hand
He like brushes his
rubs.
fingers over Bucky's thigh before he takes his hand
I
back.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
wonder how much of that was scripted and then maybe how much they play. It felt like at some point I was watching like an SNL scene and they were just like going
Yeah.
with the flow. I was like, Sam, please. What are we
They
doing?
probably
Yeah,
just
so-
told them, we need you to end up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Get
we
there
got
on
it.
your own.
You got it.
Like
Yeah,
they've
we
done
direct
really
her.
well with that. Even since like they fought Spider-Man, like
Yeah.
laying on the ground, like together, like all of that stuff. Like they just have that. Is it improv? Is it not? Like they
Yeah.
really
They've
they
got
have
such
a
good
very
chemistry.
yes. I was appropriately, lots of comparisons here. I was gonna say, like Oscar and Boyega. Like
Yeah,
have
They have
Yeah.
they have of those
And-
those two guys in a battle in this. They have that natural, like they're both really funny, but in their own ways. And
Mhm.
What's that TikTok trend of like just two guys, they might kiss?
I don't know. You have to send me some because I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the director was saying that they're really good friends, Sebastian and Anthony, and they obviously love each other, so that kind of comes through. And
Yeah.
like they're always like teamed up on press tours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like doing those press tours is kind of like it's something that really bonds you with a person because
Oh, it does.
looks like hell. That looks
Yeah.
like hell. Having to answer the same question over and over again.
I know. And I think I read somewhere that actually Feige had the idea for this series from their interactions in Civil War. I think I read it somewhere, but
That's
Yeah,
funny.
and yeah, I think they're both well established enough that they're like, I don't have to do a TV series, but they're like, but you're my bro, let's hang
Yeah.
out more, So
Yeah.
that's always a good thing.
I just want them roasting Spider-Man.
I
Yeah,
love
it would be
Anthony
great.
Mackie
Charlie,
and Sebastian
please.
You're too
Stan.
much. You're
Really?
too much.
Aw, Charlie.
Man.
Aw. Charlie's got
Charlie,
this
go to
knack
bed.
down.
It's
He's
late.
gonna do like an extreme home
Yeah.
makeover.
Charlie, it's like
Move
4
that
a.m.
book.
Go to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay.
just, yeah.
So the therapy actually kind of helps in one way. And Bucky says, that shield, that is everything Cap stood for, and you gave it away like it was nothing. And if he was wrong about you, maybe he was wrong about me.
Oh my goodness.
The whole
I wasn't
reason.
expecting that.
I was
Okay.
like,
Whole reason.
oh my
Was
god.
at the last
Yeah.
turn, like, I thought everything was just on like, well, Steve thought this, and how dare you think Steve's wrong? But then,
Mm-hmm.
then
It's
that last
personal.
turn, it's like he's wrong about you, then he's wrong about me. I'm like, oh, this is personal.
Look, like full disclosure, like these stories all hit us for like personal reasons and stuff. This episode coincidentally happens to hit at the exact week where I am currently looking for a therapist. So I'm watching this episode, and I've been struggling a lot recently with like imposter syndrome and different things like that, as I know many people on the Twitterverse do. Because I don't think we would be in that hellscape if we didn't have something going on. And then and I was watching
don't
this
need
scene,
to
and
call
when he
us
said
out.
that,
Honestly, calling us
look,
out.
I wouldn't call you out if I
Yeah.
wasn't calling myself out. I'm right there with you.
Aw.
Look. But when he said that, it was this like revelation of like when you realize your parent isn't perfect, and how he doesn't want to face that, and he doesn't want Steve to be fallible, because if Steve Rogers is fallible, then maybe he is still the Winter Soldier. If Steve Rogers is fallible, then maybe the pardon doesn't matter. If Steve Rogers is fallible, then maybe the steps don't matter. So like all of that stuff, it reminded me of a broken Luke Skywalker with Ben. Like, why didn't you tell me? Like any moment that you have like that, where it's like the mentor, you get the wind sucked out of you, and that you feel fake and artificial. And for someone that's been brainwashed to feel that way, I was just like, give this show an Emmy.
Yes.
Just throw
yes.
it at it.
Seriously.
Yeah. We had so many seasons of The Crown or all the other
Yeah, that's enough.
normal. Yeah, that's enough.
Captain America and the White Wolf. That's the next series. Right?
Yes.
Or at least a movie. Come on, a few movies. Just a few movies,
Just a few movies.
Yeah.
Is that all?
Just a few.
Just a few.
We're not trying
Just a quick trilogy.
It'll be in like
A handful of movies. That's
Trilogy.
fine.
2028.
Yeah,
It's not that
I'll tell
late,
you,
Bucky.
when you get scenes like this, it makes me think, like, I don't know when we're gonna get Avengers 5, and I hope it's not for a long time, but when we do, that lineup is gonna be so killer. Like Sam Cap, White Wolf, Carol back, Ms. Marvel, Kate Bishop, like just seeing this universe, Scarlet Witch, seeing this universe come together is so, like, the next phase. Like, it's like to see Feige shrug off Endgame, like, I ain't done, is so such a baller move.
Yeah, he could have just stopped. I mean, obviously they would stop making money, but
Yeah,
they could have stopped on a high note or
creatively, he could have been like,
restarted.
all right, your turn. You know?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm
Or
done.
restarted the whole like Marvel thing, like the universe in a way,
Yeah.
and then been like, oh look, another Captain America or something like that. So they're
Yeah.
keeping this timeline going.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I love they did another staring game, which was so cute. Or, like, staring contest when they're supposed to look soulfully in each other's eyes. And yeah, like Sam's like, thanks for making it weird.
He did make it weird.
Yeah.
And he said, after this is over, we don't have to see each other ever again. And I'm like, that's a lie, Sam, because you love each other.
Yeah, you guys love each other.
Nothing else, Sam. There are 4 more episodes. So you know that's a lie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not petting you. Okay. My Bucky is very needy too.
Oh.
So okay, something that I thought was a bit of an a-hole move was the fake Captain America pulled the siren on when Sam was
I
coming
mean,
out.
I swear, I started on a like, well, let's give him a chance. He was kind of
No.
like a D-bag face on the end of the last episode, but
No.
he was like, no, I
Norval
like,
being mean about this guy is the best. It's
She wants to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
Every single thing anybody said about him on the internet last week, like what kind of things does this man say on the
No.
internet? Every single thing we said is true.
Well, what's funny is that I saw that meme of what would this guy say last week, and somebody said, "Well, couldn't there be a White Panther?" So when that came back in this episode, I was like, "Oh, it's too good." Yeah.
Nope, he's mine. I'm sorry.
Aw.
Aww.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
But yeah, that was a mean move from this guy.
Yeah. And just their interaction. He's like, "Oh, we should work together." And Sam and Bucky are like, "Well, we're like free agents. We don't have to deal with your jurisdiction and all that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
We didn't sign the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, right.
Bucky's like, "I was just trying to get some plums that day."
Oh, good lord.
For real. Never
When
thought
Sam
about
buys him all his furniture, he's gonna leave a bag of plums on his table too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that. And the Hobbit 4K.
yeah.
Oh,
Or
yes.
4K box set. And Bucky will pop them in and say, 3 movies? And that's when I'll know that he is truly one of us.
Yeah, so you're like, that's a little overkill, even coming from me.
Boop the snoot.
Oh, boop.
Aww.
Aww. But yeah.
Okay.
My
But he
favorite
was
part is when
kinda
people like make requests for what Candace can do with Bucky.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What do you want?
For $20. For a $40 donation, Candace will get aluminum foil and wrap one of his arms right now.
Guys, didn't I ask if that was okay to do? Didn't I ask in the group chat? I said, guys, is this animal abuse to like wrap foil around his like left arm, his left leg? And
Give him
nobody
give
answered
him a little
me.
wig.
I said no.
I
Like
don't
no,
think it
don't
is.
do it.
Okay. Don't do it?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess there's sometimes when they would wrinkle, they can be a little sharp. That's true.
You know what
that's
you can
true.
do?
Yeah.
You can get like a little sleeve. Look and see if anybody's made little
Like a
sleeves for
shiny
dogs.
metal, like
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
can even
Somebody
see
made
Like
it.
it
a
on
silver
Etsy.
sleeve and put a little star on it.
I mean, he has a Captain America outfit, which
Yeah.
he wears occasionally.
That's
Well, that
cool.
works because there's the comics where Bucky becomes Cap for a while.
Yes.
That doesn't go well.
By the way, Arzu, you just
Aw.
reminded me when you said little star, and you know Charlie was joking about like the last shot of this season, but it has to be somebody spray painting the white star on Buck's arm, right? Like it's in the concept art, like he has it in the comics. Like if it's Sam, that might just be the sweetest thing ever. If
Yeah,
they're
they
like,
are.
Well, I'm just gonna sit there and
At the
sob our way
base,
through the
yeah.
last episode.
Yeah, and my Bucky has on his tag. It says "until the end of the leash,"
Oh, I love it.
Ah.
I love it and I hate it.
and it has a little star
I
in the
know.
Captain America shield. I think it was made by like a Stucky fan, but I didn't care because it was like Bucky.
that's cute.
Good for him.
Aw.
Oh,
So, Bucky's grand plan, yeah, I'm talking about you, dude, is to go see Zemo. And what I love about that is the second that Sam says Zemo. Music
Classical
playing.
requiem.
Record scratch.
I didn't have the subtitles on. That's so good.
It reminds me of Ancient Lamentations.
Yeah. There's one of my favorites ever is in Last Jedi, and it's when Luke does the little shrug and it says exhales shakingly, like on Adam Driver.
Yeah, and this one
I
also
love
when
that.
Bucky's like, when he's telling Sam he has a plan, like, yes, it's like hesitates. Yes.
Mm.
And it's all this kind of stuff. And I was like,
But
Yeah.
we know from the last episode that he was on his notebook.
yeah, he was on his notebook.
Oh, that's right.
Is it his notebook of revenge or help?
I'm telling you, one side is revenge and one side is help.
Yeah,
Let's go.
there's
Let's look at
that.
the notebook. Let's look in the notebook. Mm,
Yeah, he has two.
he's on
Because
he's
like
on
the
the left
side
side. That's
with
not
his
good.
neighbor is a different page, and the side with like the senator is like the left page, and his
Yeah.
neighbor is the right page. So one of them I
Yeah,
feel like is
it's
his men's, and the other one is like his hit list.
Yeah, Zemo's on the
Right.
left page, so he's on the
Zemo's
hit
on the
list.
hit list.
he deserves. I mean, Zemo was the last one to abuse his brain, to take advantage of him and everything. But at the same time, Zemo beautifully, and it's one of my favorite things about Civil War. He plays into the criticism of America that we have going on in this show, because Zemo's entire tragedy is American intervention by way of the Avengers. As that whole speech he gives to T'Challa and what happened to the Avengers? They went home.
Yeah,
that's every administration that we've had.
They're like, mission accomplished.
I know. Yeah.
And we've seen now some of the Sokovian struggle even way before that, with Wanda and Pietro's flashback. Yeah. Like it already was a hard place to live, to exist, to build a family, and he had it all taken. So even he has, a lot of those criticisms, and like Everett Ross says at the end, like, and your plan failed, and he just, did it. So
yeah.
I'm dying for this return. I love Daniel Bruhl, and I cannot wait for Purple Mask Zemo, baby. Yeah. I love the cheesy purple mask. It's dumb, and I love it.
I know.
I'm ready.
Yeah. And I just love Hannibal Lecter style. We need to talk to the villain arcs and moments.
We've seen him in the promo, and he's out. Does he get like Pearl or something?
Yeah.
They probably break him out.
Yeah.
Oh,
break him out.
Yeah. They probably say he's probably like, I'll help you guys. I'll have to show you. Like, there's a certain place,
Like it's something that needs his presence, or it's not going to work.
Right. Yeah. And it's like Zemo.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say
like, I can just see Bucky being like, yeah, let's get him out. And Sam's like, no.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And what we forget about Zemo is that, like, because his plot in Civil War is all mental chess, we don't get to see him fight. But Zemo was like on a death squad or something. They say.
He was in Sokovian squad.
So, like he's he could be a badass, hand to hand as well, which we haven't seen him do, which will be interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys would like to add? Add about this episode?
Wow.
Bucky says he'd like more pets.
I like that they teed up Sharon, because Sharon's not one of my favorite characters, even in the comics. But I know that, like Marvel always does, with a little more screen time, she's always been relegated to like a supporting role. So now with a little bit of a spotlight, like I think that she can really come to play and really get some good stuff to act with and stuff. So that's exciting.
Her out, because she's like, like you said, like I feel like she has like max 10 minutes of screen time
across all her movies.
Yeah, across everything she's been in.
In Civil War, she's literally a video game like NPC who's like, here are your items. Goodbye. It's like, why didn't you help us fight? Like, we were going to fight at this exact moment.
She wants none of that drama.
Yeah, and then she still like got in trouble and became an enemy of the state.
I know.
And it's like, you should have just stayed with them.
Honestly, could have at least hung out with
your
Bearded
Uncle
Steve.
I know, she truly missed out on the goods.
I know, she missed out on long hair Beard Steve. Like
long hair bearded.
Honestly, the best Steve. And I have to say, the most egregious thing about John Walker was the fact that he had like scruff, and I was like, even that's not doing it. Like, just stop. You are not captain.
Everything he's doing is wrong.
Everything.
Scruff, no scruff. Everything about him is wrong.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's a perfect amount of something is up with this guy, like the way that he's playing it, and he's doing a lot of the stuff that even like his dad does. Like Kurt Russell has a lot of characters that are there's something like it's about to blow, like right behind the eyes, like in the Hateful Eight, where Kurt Russell's character is like, he's a lawman, he's apprehending criminals, but he's also hanging them because he likes it.
Can I just say that one of Kurt Russell's best roles is playing Santa Claus on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Like genuinely, it's like one of his best roles.
Yes. No. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought that they dwelled on some, like they went on topics that, I mean, close to home and real topics. And but I'm interested to see, more about the Flag Smashers, And also, I mean, because there's a lot of questions, why there are super soldiers? Who's this fella who's going behind them? Like the power broker, that was the name.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see, because it's like we've discussed that maybe they're not entirely wrong, or like what's going on behind their motivations, and definitely how they're going to get that shield back is going to be really exciting. And of course, Simo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
for sure.
episode really has gotten me more excited about where they're going. Like the first episode was solid. It was a good introduction, but like this is like, I'm hooked. I am ready. I'm going to be like waiting for the next episode, like I was with WandaVision.
Yeah.
Right.
This one I
And
didn't
it's
want
also-
to end. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, it's also proving that Faihi knows what show needs what. So like 9 half-hour to 40-minute episodes for WandaVision is what that needed. And this one doing 6 50-minute ones, they're not wasting any real estate, with what they have. Like by the end of this one, I was like, wow, we've done a lot of story already. Like I feel
And
like
it
we've
didn't
come a
feel long.
long way.
It didn't
And it
feel long
doesn't feel that way
No.
either. Yeah,
It
exactly.
didn't feel like 15 minutes. 40
Disney
minutes
Plus
either.
overall, I mean, between these two, Mandalorian, like it really does feel like they're not having to adhere to any standard or rule, and being able to do whatever they want is really benefiting them.
Yeah.
So I'm
Because a
really
lot
excited
of like
to see
the
it.
Netflix shows, they do the whole like the sitcom thing is 22 minutes in case I guess they want to eventually like have distributing them.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Disney Plus is like, no, these are ours. They're staying on our
Right.
streaming.
And even with
place
their
forever.
superheroes, like that was a big thing with Netflix, where it's like Daredevil season 1, I think, is a near perfect piece of pop culture. Like Daredevil season 1 is up there with like the Dark Knight for like really just perfect stuff. Shout out to Maggie for writing about Karen like yesterday or the day before. That was great. And Deborah Ann Wool's wonderful in that role.
Awesome.
But then they were like, we have to do that every time, and it's like, no, you don't. Like Luke Cage was half a season too long. Iron Fist it existed.
Yeah.
That
was a mistake.
So that was
It just
longer than
happened.
it happened. Jessica Jones had a perfect first season, and then 2 and 3 sort of felt like they were stretching. Like, you don't need to do this. You can you just tell your story and walk away. So or tell it however you want. So
I like that.
Okay. If no one else has anything else to say, I think we should sign off. Arzu, where can people find you online?
So people can find me at Arzu Amin on Twitter. And then you can find me at my site, arzud2.com, which is mostly Star Wars book reviews. There's a new piece up that isn't, but for the most part, it is book reviews. And you can also find me over at the Geeky Waffle with Candace. We are podcasting. We're doing live streams like this. We've got the blog going. We have a new series called Late to the Party, where we're talking about older pop culture stuff in blog form, but like older things that we've recently got excited about. So all very exciting stuff.
I'm Maggie. You can follow me on Twitter at Maggie of the Town. I write over at Your Money Geek, and I talk a lot of hype on Twitter. And you can find all of my links in my link tree on my Twitter account.
Well, and I'm Norhal, and you can find me on Twitter at Norhal, and talking about Star Wars, Marvel, pop culture, general. So I'll be there.
I'm Alden. You can find me AD Strider on Twitter, probably doing a lengthy thread, probably at this exact moment. It might be like a scheduled thing. Who knows? And you follow me doing Star Wars podcasting at Octo Radio. It's home to my show and the show of the incomparable and amazing and wonderful Tori Fox, who's been crushing it with her new show, The Mandatorian Creed, which we're happy to be producing. If you happen to live in Florida, I'm on the radio in Florida, but like, who listens to the radio? And then, then doing One and Done Film Club. The next one, I'll say it here as a little tease, is John Wick. So that's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm Mia. I'm on Twitter at pointing this Mia J Media. You can find my writing on Dork Side of the Force. I am also around Fansided on winterscoming.net. I co-host the Take the Black Live podcast. We do it like every Wednesday afternoons over on Facebook. And I also want to plug my book, Chadwick Boseman, Forever King. It's a very touching biography about him. It's out there on Amazon, and you might be able to find it in some bookstores and Target.
Oh my God.
He's super
Awesome.
awesome.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay, well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.